All right. Welcome back to Wimbledon. It's day 5 already. Day 5. We've got 9 days after this to go. And we're starting with Osaka taking on Pavlyuchenkova, which is a little bit of an unseeded battle. Not unknown players. Osaka's won a bunch of slams, and Pavlyuchenkova's been had a good career. But with all the upsets we've had, this is the match we've got. Kruger and Zhang were the seeded players in this section. Obviously, both of them have lost. Winner of this will take on the winner of Cartel and Parry. So, again, very open section. Ostapenko and Schneider were the seeds up there. They've lost. The winner of this match could take on Anisimova in the quarterfinals, though. So, but yeah, we're going to have an unseeded quarterfinalist from this part of the draw, which will be interesting. These two have played before because being the long time players that they have played a couple of times before, and it was last time was Osaka winning in straight sets in Australia in 2021. So they haven't played for a while, but they have played with that match in mind. So let's see what happens. I mean, grass, Osaka, not Osaka's best surface, but the draw's opened up. It's an opportunity for everybody in this section. But how are we doing, Chad? Are we ready? We've got a big day today. We've got a lot of... I feel like today's a bit more like what we expect. There's a lot of high-profile matches today. Whereas yesterday, the day before, there were some good matches. There was upsets, but today's the day where we sort of starting getting these big matchups that we kind of expect in the third round of a slam. These two have actually played 3 times. And with the last time being at Australian Open 21. They've never played on grass. First time meeting on grass. So let's see what happens. But how are we? Just stopped by. All right. Other matches going on right now. We've got Anisimova's going to play. Buksha's going to play. And Osaka and this one, of course. They've got a bunch of doubles going on at the moment. So much to cover. And then the men's matches from yesterday they didn't get to finish. Shelton, Hijikata, and also Monfils will jump back on and play again in a little bit. But yeah, we've got Fokina versus Fritz. That could be fun. Alcaraz is playing today. We've got Raducanu Sabalenka. We've got Jarry versus Fonseca. Those are the matches that are all the big interesting ones for the general people, I think. Unless you want to be more niche and go for, another match. But those are the big matches for me that we will keep our eye on. I want Raducanu to stop Sabalenka. Well, we'll see. I mean, Sabalenka hasn't played the best tennis so far this week, so we'll see. Fokina right shoulder injury, that's a shame because if they're healthy, I feel like that's a 5-setter. Hope Naomi gets through. Pavlyuchenkova is tricky though. Yeah, very tricky. This is an interesting matchup for sure. But yeah, let's see how Osaka does. If she can continue the run. It's an opportunity. This is a great opportunity for everybody in this section to try and win. So we'll see who can take the opportunity. Let me tell you how these ladies have gone at Wimbledon in the past. Pavlyuchenkova's best result was a quarterfinal back in 2016, where she lost to Serena Williams in the semis. Serena went on to win the title. In the quarter, Serena went on to win the title. Pavlyuchenkova took out Vandeweghe and Putintseva along the way. And then Osaka's best result at Wimbledon is actually a third round, where I think she lost to Kerber one year and she lost to Venus. So this is her best chance of making the fourth round from the bunch that she has... from the bunch of matches that she's played at this stage at Wimbledon. She didn't play at Wimbledon for 5 years. She didn't avoid it, but she just didn't play it during COVID, obviously got cancelled one year. She didn't play in 21. I think she focused on the Olympics more than playing on the grass. It was also after that French Open where she was sort of deciding, not to do the press conference, and she got a lot of hate for that, and then, decided, I need to step away, did the Olympics, and then 2022 or 23, she was having a baby, so she wasn't around from 2019 to 2024. She didn't play Wimbledon for multiple different reasons, but she's back, and now she's about to make her best result at Wimbledon with Patrick Mouratoglou, who jumped on to help Serena during Wimbledon, and then she won the tournament. So Patrick Mouratoglou at Wimbledon is is a good person to have in your box to help you. All right, here we go. How are we gonna go? Here we go. All right. I've got Osaka in 3. Who you got, chat? 1 second. All right. Osaka to serve first. As she serves. To that Pavlyuchenkova backhand. 4-0 Osaka is Pavlyuchenkova again to the forehand of Osaka. And to the forehand of Pavlyuchenkova, Osaka on the stretch goes long, and it's love 15. Kyrgios is there watching Osaka. He is he employed by her? Is that how it works? I think his podcast is part of her company. I think it's under her umbrella. Not that he's there because he's watching his boss play tennis, but I think that's not how it is. They're also playing doubles together and they're friends. So, as that goes out by Pavlyuchenkova, 15-all. Yeah, they're obviously friendly and playing doubles together at the US Open. Which again is probably no shock because they're friends. All right, 15-all. There's Osaka with an ace down the tee. 30-15. I hope Badosa and Steph broke up. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. 30-all. As Osaka serves again. All chance for Pavlyuchenkova to get a break point early days here. As Osaka serves. Another ace down the tee. And it's 40-30. Why is Kyrgios there? Because like I just mentioned, they're friends. His podcast is part of her company, so they kind of got that business connection. And they're also playing mixed doubles together at the US Open, so yeah. Also, he wants to be there, so yeah. And also maybe having him there gives her confidence to be like, because if you think of them as like, for Osaka, it's probably not a bad person to have. Somebody who doesn't give a shit, who, doesn't care about what people think and that does his own thing. Whereas she's a little bit more shy and reserved. To have him around to kind of maybe make her feel like, yeah, I'm going to do, you know what I mean, chat? It's good to have people around you that, like that, that are maybe different to you, that bring out different qualities in yourself, Maybe that's why he's there. Maybe Patrick Mouratoglou is like, hey, Nick, come watch her because it might help. He's pretty smart, Pat. I mean, Patrick Mouratoglou, he might be onto something. Maybe it's his doing. He's like, hey, come support her, because if she sees you in the box, she might it might give her some extra belief and help, you know? Because, of course, at the end of the day, they're here to win the slam, right? All right, 1-love Osaka. All right, that goes down the line from Pav, and it's 15-love. The reason why I don't want to get into the whole Tsitsipas Badosa thing is because it's not confirmed. It's just speculation. Like, they haven't said anything, so I don't want to talk about it if the two people involved haven't mentioned anything. You know? It's all just like they've unfollowed each other or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, it's people that need a hobby. Chad, seriously though, who has the time to go through someone's account that follows somebody else and then realize they've unfollowed them? Who has the time to do that? What person has the time to sit there and find out that so-and-so unfollowed so-and-so? How does that even work? Who? I don't see. There's surely better things to do with your time. I don't get that. And it's basically, that's where this has all come from, because they stopped following each other. Or one of them unfollowed the other or something. I don't know. I don't freaking know. So until they speak out, let's just let them have their time. You know, let them live in peace while they're both got injuries too, so let them recover from that. Anyway, it's 15-all, and they'll tell us if they want to, and if they don't, then it's not our business anyway. As that 4-1 winner there from Osaka, lovely pickup, 15-30. At least that's how I feel about it. I don't need to know. Good luck to him. All right. 15-30. Great pickup by Osaka. 15-30. There's a bit of fault from Pavlyuchenkova. Second serve. Second serve. Double fault. All right, 15-40. Osaka with the break points. Start us off. 15-40. As we just serve again from Pav. Down the tee, the backhand of Osaka. Return goes back into Pavlyuchenkova. Osaka backhand again. The backhand of Pavlyuchenkova. She hits it out. 2-love Osaka. Whoop. 2-love. Osaka takes that break. Goran was quite brutal regarding Tsitsipas in the recent interview. He said that he is basically a mess privately and that his form is the worst he has ever seen. Are they still working together after that? That's great. Like, the coach come out and just whack you. I mean, that's, yeah. I haven't heard Goran say that. I mean, I'm gonna look it up now though, because I mean, people can say whatever they want in the chat, and it might not be true. So I'm just gonna let me quote what he said. Just so we can get the right quote instead of, Okay, so he said, it's both simple and not simple. I've spoken to him several times. If he resolves certain off-court issues, he'll have a chance to return to where he belongs because he's too good to be outside the top 10. He says he wants to return to the top level, but he's not doing anything. It's always, I want, but I don't see any progress. I was shocked. I've never seen a more unprepared player in my life. With his knee, I'm 3 times fitter than him. It's really bad. Holy shit. Goran did not hold back. Yeah. Damn. Goran is not messing about. But that's what you want. Maybe that's what he needs, Steph. He needs someone to come in here and be like, hey, let's sort this shit out so we can... You want to win? We'll win. Yeah, so he said I've told him many times, if he solves solves some problems outside of tennis, he'll have an opportunity and will return to where he should be, because to be the top 10, he wants to, but he doesn't do anything. He says, I want, but I don't see effort. I was shocked. I've never seen a player in worse physical condition in my life. With this knee, I am 3 times fitter, and he's pointing at himself. I'm 3 times fitter. And then talking about their coaching relationship, it's a new relationship. Although I have known him for many years, I know how he plays. I've sat many times in front of his box. He's getting used to me. I'm getting used to him. He has to start the process again. He started a great tournament like Wimbledon, but he doesn't have as much confidence on grass. Even when he was at his best, he never did very well on the surface in this event. I told him to relax, to try, and what's done is done. It's not the tournament where you arrive and find a rhythm because it's tough on grass. It's a process. You can't arrive and start playing well right away. It doesn't work like that. He played 2 good matches in Hella, trained with good players in the exhibition tournaments. I'll tell you this, chat. I like it. I think maybe that's... looking from an outside point of view, we all know Steph's story. 3-love, by the way. You know, coached by his dad. There's always been that from an outsider, from a lot of people commenting on the way, you know, how they were sorting things out. Moratoglu come in. Philippoussis come in, right? There's a couple of people that have come in and tried to help Steph to mix results. But it's good. Like, it's probably not the worst thing for Goran to come in and be like, hey, you know, you need to sort things out. Like, you need to change things. Because he probably maybe Steph hasn't had that before. Hasn't had someone come in and go, look, buddy, all this is not working. Like, he needs maybe some hard truth. And Goran, and I love that for Goran. Goran's obviously not worried about his job, which is always good as a coach, right? To have a coach come in who's not worried about getting fired, so then you'll get the honest feedback, you know? And maybe Goran does get kicked out, but that says more about what's going on the other side of the court than it does with who Goran is. You know, Goran's been the punching bag for Nole. We've seen that, but, you know, maybe not the worst thing for Goran to come in and be like, hey. Also, Goran's coming off the Raducanu situation where he kind of came into that and wasn't sure about his role with the old coach coming back and stuff. So Goran's probably just like, forget this. If I'm coaching you, you got to sort your shit out. I'm not going. He's fed up. He's had enough, Goran. He's like, I'm a good damn coach. You hired me. I'm going to help you. And if you don't listen to me, you can get stuffed. Like, Goran is a good coach. I mean, even though he did sit there and, you know, Djokovic did, you know, he was still there for Norway, right? He still was there for the success. He's probably just like, I'm not going through this bullshit again. You know, I'm over this. If I would have coached someone, okay, there's a lot of people I could coach, you know? Because Goran is a wanted coach. I mean, you could name, you know, probably 5 players that would benefit from Goran, you know? And he knows that. His value as a coach has gone up, so he's probably not taking any shit anymore, you know? If you want to be better, you got to fix all this. And if you want me to help you, I'll be here for it. And if Steph wants to get back to where he was, I mean, listening to Goran is, you hired the man, you're paying the guy, you might as well take his advice. Anyway, it's 40-15. But we'll see. Hopefully Steph can get through these physical issues and then restart on the hard courts and and him and Goran can get some success. All right, 40-15. Is it a back into the line of the forehand of Pavlyuchenkova? That goes wide by Pav, and it's 40-30. Yeah, Goran doesn't need to be a coach. You know, he could be on camera, he could be playing Legends matches. Like, he doesn't need to be a coach if he doesn't want to. Unprofessional to say that stuff publicly. But see, okay, so this is the thing, right? It does seem like that at first, but I feel like that might be the only way to get into, like, he might be saying this stuff publicly to get the response he wants from Steph, right? If he keeps it private and doesn't bring it up and nothing changes, like there's going to be more public pressure now that Goran has spoken out about it, right? And then, Steph's going to be asked in interviews. He's going to be asked, so maybe Goran is using airing this publicly to try and get Steph to move. Maybe it's I think it's a good idea, to put some public pressure on Steph, because he's been there for over a month now, and he must have seen a lot of things going on behind the scenes and probably being like, you need to change this, you need to change that, and nothing's changing. He's like, you're not doing anything. All right, then. Kind of like what I guess like football managers kind of do that sometimes. They use the media to try and get a response from certain players or certain people in the team, right? I think maybe that's what Goran's trying to do. He's trying to he's like, hey, this is the deal. I'm trying to deal with it. And then maybe that'll put some pressure on Steph to try and change things. Yeah, he's working the media, using the media to try and help his guy, right? Not airing it out like, oh, hey, by the way, this guy's a total mess. Like I don't think he's doing it to piss anybody off or anything. As Pavlyuchenkova gets to advantage, I don't think he's trying to do it as like as a gossipy thing. I think he's trying to use it as a way to get a response and try and help. Tough love, it seems that Goran's going with. But that's the thing. Yeah, he probably already has said this stuff to Steph in private. But if nothing's changing and he doesn't see Steph responding to him saying, hey, you've got to change this, and then it's like, oh, well, nothing changed. I don't think it's a bad idea to try to go, hey, I've told him this. Because then now maybe Steph will listen to the public perception or public pressure, right? I think it's not a bad idea by Goran, especially if it might seem harsh, but maybe that's what Steph needs, Maybe he needs that to if he really does want to get back up the top, That's what Goran's trying to do. He's trying to help him, right? And as that goes to the net by Osaka, and it's advantage Pavlyuchenkova. The personalities maybe don't match, but on a deeper level, should be what Steph needs. Yeah, I think I think it's exactly what Steph needs. Because Goran technically can bring a lot of things to his game, but I also think, experience. He's won a slam, right? That definitely is a big bonus. As that goes into the forehand of Pavlyuchenkova. Forehand Osaka on the stretch sliced as Pavlyuchenkova comes in and hits a forehand winner, and it's 3-1. Yeah, but the thing is, chat, two things could happen, right? We know with Zverev, he's had coaches come in and like Lendl, for example, and that didn't work, whereas it worked for Murray. So it does come down to does the player at the end of the day, the player is the boss. So if Goran is gonna try and let's say he is using the media to try and get a response from Tsitsipas and try and put pressure on him to change and help, right? As a way to help him, it could work two ways. Steph could go, I don't like that, get out of here, and he could get fired, right? But I think it's not the worst thing for Goran to try and do, because if he's saying, like, if behind the scenes he's trying to get change and he's not getting heard, maybe using this is a better thing. Maybe it is a better idea. And it's interesting because we talk about Zverev. He's obviously working with his his family, and he's had outside coaches, but it's never really worked. And Tsitsipas has been coached by his dad pretty much the whole time. Again, it would be interesting to know, like, to kind of work out because it's not obviously not the same for everybody. Because look at Shelton, look at Ruud, look at Coco Gauff, right? There's been a lovely volley winner from Pavlyuchenkova 15-0. But, like, the parent-coach relationship, especially when there might not be tough love or not like, if the player is the boss and not the parent and the coach, and the parent and the coach is kind of like allowing the player to do things, because again, because they're not the coach, they're not just the coach, they're also the parent, so they want the their kid to have their best life and live the life that they want, but also they also have a responsibility as the coach to try and get them to perform on court. You know, it's a weird, it is a strange, you know, it is a strange relationship, because it's like, well, I want the best for you in life, and if you're unhappy, I don't want to make you unhappy by coaching you to, if you don't want to. And then, but also my responsibility as a coach to get you to win, because if you're not winning, then I'm not doing that job, you know. And then you look at someone who maybe has been coached by their parent for such a long time, they don't know any different, so they don't know somebody coming in going, "You're doing this wrong," so they don't understand. They've never had that feedback, maybe, you know, except from their dad or their mum, who's, you know, kind of been like, "Yeah, you're doing this wrong." It's like, stop nagging me. You're my, you know, when your parents nag you a little bit, and you're just like, okay, yeah, whatever. But when you parent your coach, it's, you know, when you get an outside coach and they tell you that, you're like, oh, okay, you don't know, you're a bit of a stranger to me, but you're telling me this stuff. Oh, okay. And players react in different ways, and maybe this is not. I feel like in the end, it's a good thing for Steph, especially if Goran can help. If he can keep Goran long enough around, but, you know, it's again, it does come on the player. You know, does he listen to Goran? Does he take on board what Goran's saying? Does he do something about it, or does he just go, "I don't want to hear that, get out of here," and then he goes back to getting coached by somebody else who will tell him what he wants to hear, or, you know, if that's what's happening. 4-1, by the way. Again, I've dealt even as like coaching junior, you know, young tennis players, or even just coaching adults. It is interesting when the parent comes in and says, "I want you to do this, this, and this," and you're like, "Hang on a second, I'm the coach. Like, I'll coach, you parent." Like, there is a lot of pushy parents in sport, because, of course, they want the best for their kid, obviously, but they might not know what is best for their kid when it comes to going, you know, getting better in a sport. Right? But, you know, parents always knows best. Yeah, well, parents know best for their kid on an emotional level or whatever. But when it comes to like, but they're not, some, and I'm not talking about, you know, obviously these parents are different, but probably the parents that I would deal with, they don't know a thing about tennis except for what they watched on TV. So they would come in with all these ideas because they'd watched Novak Djokovic or Roger Federer, and you'd be like, yeah, but that's not, like, yeah, we can adopt some of those methods, but we're also, I'm not going to coach a kid if they're not, like, I'm not going to coach them into something that they're not. Like, they're not going to have a, you know, they don't have the same attributes as someone like that. So why would I coach them like that? Why would I want, you know, a guy with a big serve to try and play like Novak Djokovic, right? Or why would I want a short kid to try and serve aces like John Isner? It's like, well, that doesn't make sense. You know, you got to work with what you got. But anyways, we'll find out. I mean, I think it's a good idea by Goran. I think Goran's trying to help Steph, even though it might look like he's just being mean. I think he is trying to help him, though. And I hope it works, you know. I hope what he, you know, what Goran's trying to achieve, you know, help Steph get back up the game. Because Tsitsipas is better than his ranking. He's better than 20. Like, he might not be Alcaraz or Sinner, but he's not 25 in the world. He's better than that, you know. 15 love. He's at least on the fringe of top 10, Steph. Minimum. Like, he should be like 12 in the world. That's about, like, as low as 12. And high as, you know, as high as 5 maybe. 5 or 6. Sorry, 4 or 5. Because if you look at Taylor Fritz, he goes, well, how the hell is Tsitsipas, who's, you know, how is he not, him and Fritz are the same generation, and Fritz is thriving right now. Yeah, Fritz has a better serve. Maybe better, you know, better a better balance off court, maybe, but like, how is Steph so far behind Fritz when, you know, those guys are the exact same generation, and for a while there, Steph was better. 40 love. 40 love. But hey, chat, that's, we'll see what happens. 40 love is going to serve out wide. The backhand of Osaka. 4-1 Pavlyuchenkova. The backhand of Osaka. Osaka gets wide. And it's 4-2. I'll tell you this though, Chad. If Steph and Goran doesn't work out, you know who should get Goran? Zverev. Especially right now. If Zverev's struggling with what he's struggling with, I think Goran coming on, even as just an advisor with his dad, if he keeps his dad as the main coach and you get Goran on, I feel like that wouldn't be a bad idea. Especially because, and we've talked about this so much, because when Goran stopped working with Djokovic, we're talking about Zverev. When Goran stopped working with Raducanu, we're talking about Goran and Zverev. I feel like it's just such a good match, not just because of the styles of play, but also the expectation. From what I have read, Goran in the 90s was supposed to be this big serving lefty giant that was supposed to be a part of that Sampras Agassi, generation. And he made a slam final, and he made another final, and he never won a slam. And then finally, at the very end of his career, he won a slam in dramatic fashion. It's very similar to Zverev. The expectation is Zverev being the next generation, being Grand Slam champion, making finals, and then not getting there. Maybe Goran can relate to that, and maybe that is. And Goran making him a little bit more aggressive when he needs to be, maybe helping with the net play. I feel like that's a match made in heaven. Love 30. Anyways. So if Steph and Goran don't work out, then Zverev should pick up the phone, I think. Get Goran on the camp, especially because Goran's worked with Djokovic and Zverev respects the hell out of Nole. And I'm sure there's definitely some secrets that Goran can give to Zverev from the Djokovic camp, because again, they do have a similar game. He's just 6'6". Anyways, that goes out by Osaka and his love 40. Love 40. Yeah, also Sinner. I mean, at the end of this year, Sinner's not going to be working with Cahill. So it means, Goran might be a wanted man. All right, first serve's a fault, second serve. That means Sinner's already gone after the Djokovic, former Djokovic staff before. So, I mean, if Steph doesn't work with Goran, then maybe Sinner gets the nod. I'm sure Goran wouldn't mind that. As that goes down the line from Pav, that's a winner. We're back on serve, 4-3. 4-3. All right. But that's the thing. Zverev's dad doesn't have to leave the box for it to work. It's just kind of, does he step aside and let somebody take over? But again, Zverev's always, he said recently that working my family, I get the best response out of myself. But again, if Goran's on the table, the opportunity to work with him when, he's worked with Novak successfully and done all these things, I mean, everybody should be trying to get that guy. Especially if they have a similar game to Djokovic, because then you can go, well, how did you get him to get the best out of himself? And then, Anyways, we'll see how this Steph Goran works out, because I think what he's doing is good. Why cover this match when all you talk about is men's tennis? Sorry, Peter, that you don't find talking about coaching, playing relationships. I mean, it's called Tennis Talk. We talk about all things tennis. I mean, it's 4-3. Goran talked to the local sport club, and he said, yeah. We're just talking about what Goran said in the interview about Steph. And I think that that wasn't the worst thing to do, All right, 4-3. We're back on serve as Pavlyuchenkova hits it long, and it's love 15. What's my prediction for Emma versus Sabalenka? I haven't made a video about it. Go watch it. If there's no Sinner, Alcaraz, it's just impossible to predict who's going to win the whole thing. Well, they're still here, so it's not, yeah. All right. Stop complaining about Cam talking about other things. He's not just an exclusively commentating guy. Yeah, this is a watch along and reaction. It's talking about everything. If you want to listen, if you want to keep up to date with every single second of the match, then go get the match. As that goes in the net from Pav, love 30. If Sabalenka gets good start, she will win. Yeah, I think Sabalenka will overpower Raducanu. But I think Raducanu will put up a fight. All right, love 30. Serve into the back, into the front of Osaka. Return as a winner. Love 40. Great shot by Osaka. All right, break points. My God, this is the best place on the internet to discuss tennis, and you still have people complaining. Look, people come here and they expect different reasons, different things. Some people want to just hear about the match that's going on. Some people want to hear about a bit of everything. Some people want their questions answered really badly. It's just the expectation of free entertainment. As we just serve now, the backhand of Osaka. Return goes the backhand of Pav. Drop shot is good, but Osaka gets it. Pavlyuchenkova, easy winner down the line, 15-40. If the crowd can get in Sabalenka's head, Emma has a small chance. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. No, that's all right, Yukaslav. That's fine. I totally understood what you said. Sabalenka will steamroll Raducanu. You heard it here first. Well, no, I think someone might have commented that on the video that I made. But fair enough. I think the crowd and being on a grass court, being at home, maybe not the court service, but being at home in the UK and also having the crowd, I think helps Raducanu immensely. As that forehand goes, then net from Pavlyuchenkova, 5-3. Grass finalists dropping like flies on this Wimbledon, absolutely wild. Yeah, it's been a weird tournament. Yeah, Peter, it's not so much what you said, it's the way you said it. Like if you said, oh, hey, can you please, maybe talk about this match a little bit more? Then I wouldn't have used you as an example for everybody else. But the way you said it, like, lol, why cover this match? It's like, okay, then fine, whatever, bro. Like you kind of just came out here and you started it. 15 love. Osaka serving for the set. There's a fault from Osaka. Second serve. Second serve. Double fault. All right, 15-0. Why is Kyrgios watching Osaka? Because they're friends. Nah, that's right, Peter. No, sorry, man. We just get a lot of people coming in here and complaining about how I run the things because it's not to their liking. So maybe it's been a long week. Why are we watching Eala again? Why are we watching doubles? Every day it's a constant battle. Anyways, 30-15. Osaka's about to win this set, Peter. We're going to cover the rest of this set for you. 30-15. So chat, shut up. I'm not answering any questions. Serve down the tee is a fault. Second serve. Second serve. Winner of this will take on either Cartel or Parry. So the winner of this will probably like their chances to make the quarters, as that goes in the net by Pav. And it's 40-15. Osaka to take the first set. By the way, we do have Fritz versus Fokina coming up like an hour and a half, which I'm excited for. I've been so impressed by how Fritz has navigated his first 2 rounds, even though it's been 5 sets. Both very tricky, big serving opponents. He's done well. He's done well to get by. Osaka, 40-15. So I'm excited to see how he looks against someone who doesn't have a big serve. 7 to the backhand of Pav. Backhand of Osaka to the backhand of Pavlyuchenkova. Osaka backhand again in the net. 40-30. Set point number 2. 40-30. 40-30. As Osaka serves a let. $40-30. As Osaka serves again, she can't get that ball toss right. Seven to the backhand of Pav. Backhand of Osaka down the line in the net. We get the deuce. After Wimbledon, what tennis open will you stream next? I'm going on holiday. I don't know. I'm leaving. So I don't know. I'm not talking. Nothing. After Wimbledon, nothing. Zero, zilch. Holiday. We need a holiday, chat. We all do. It's been a long season. It's been a long year. Go to the Philippines. Maybe I will. All right, deuce. Ace down the tee again. Osaka. Advantage Osaka. To take the first set. Another ace, all right. Osaka serve bot confirmed. All right. First set. By the way, the whole Kyrgios camp is there. Not just Nick Kyrgios. It's his trainer. It's his sister. The whole Kyrgios coaching box is in the box of Osaka. It's wild. The whole camp's there. All right. First set in the bag. A lot of typhoons coming. Yeah, I'm probably not going to go to Philippines you guys told me not to go in July, so I'll go in December. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But yeah, we're not watching tennis. We gotta. I'm saying this to myself here. When I say we, I mean me. I've got to stop for a week, at least a week, and just stop talking because I'm sick of my own voice. I got a lot of things I want to move my house around, and I want to throw out some garbage, and there's a lot of things there's a lot of chores I want to do that don't include speaking. So that's I don't want to speak out loud for at least a week. And then after that, I'll reassess what the hell we're going to do. All right, first set in the bag, 6-3. Come to Cape Town. Cape Town's like ages away. Will they have Shelton match on court, complete on court 2 before Keys? Yes. Better to detox, Cam? What do you mean? I'm just going to stop. Please be safe. What do you mean? I'm not going anywhere. July's the worst time to visit Asia anywhere. Yeah, maybe I'll save my travel for the end of the year. Maybe I'll go on a staycation. A speaking detox, exactly. Yeah, I'm just gonna be in complete silence. A vow of silence for a week. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna speak out loud for a week. Walk around with a notepad and write things down and make people read it. I mean, I don't know how that'll work with Mia. Shave your head, become a monk. Let's not get that. We don't need to go that far. The problem with Osaka is when her game starts to get exciting, she stops performing well. Holding my breath here. Okay. 30 love. Pavlyuchenkova serves. Campbell get some DVDs and not speak for a week. Oh yeah, I'm gonna lock myself up and watch all the movies. You'll talk to yourself anyway. I do that enough. Internally. 30-15. All right. Now after Wimbledon, I'm going to go op shopping. I'm going to like thrift store. So I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. $30-15. The return goes in the backhand of Pavlyuchenkova. 4-0 from Osaka to the slice of Pavlyuchenkova. Drop shot's good. Osaka puts it in the net. 40-15. By the way, I read something really interesting today. A very philosophic quote. As that goes in from Pav and it's one love. That anxiety is the dizziness of freedom, chat. Go look it up. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. Very interesting. And I understand it. When you've got all the options in the world, chat, you do whatever you want. You have a week of nothing, you just get scary because there's so much you could do. But there's nothing you could do. Movies are good. Yeah, I'm locking into watching movies. I've got a list of movies. That's what I'm locking into, doing that. I've got a bunch of little chores I've got to do as well. Who said that? Let me double check. I've got a book. Hang on. Kierkegaard? Soren Kierkegaard. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. So I'm gonna lock myself and watch a bunch of movies. That's zero freedom. Anyways, 15-0. He's an existential philosopher. Well, he was. Well, yeah. Ah, 15-0. He was, yeah. Yeah, where's that thing gone? Where was it? I was reading it here. I got to start putting... yeah, whatever. You heard it. Go Google it. Look it up. Anyways, 15:30. As that goes in on the return from Pavlyuchenkova at 15:40. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom is a fluke quote, I think. What do you mean fluke? Like, is that a person? Lovely backhand winner by Pav. A little bit of a shank, but she'll take it. 15:40. One of my thoughts on Dadiri versus Thompson. I hope Thompson wins. I camped outside for Wimbledon yesterday in the queue, and it absolutely finished me off. Oh, man, EJ. Did you get in, though? What'd you get? Center court tickets, though? Backhand winner, Pav. 2-love, second set. Did you get into the... What did you get to see, though? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? All right, 2-love. Saw Draper Chilich for $10 on resale, so worth it. Hey, love that for you, EJ. That's awesome. 10 quid. 10 quid. Nice. Nice. All right. 2-0. Are we watching Raducanu tomorrow? Monica, I don't know. Are you going to complain about it if we don't? You're going to comment on every video and say, oh, I can't believe it. I don't know. What do you... I don't know. Got Sunbird for $90. Hey, bargain. 15-love. As we just served down the tee, the forehand of Osaka. Forehand out from Pav to the back of Osaka. And Osaka, a nice shot in on the baseline. It's 15-all. 15-all. I don't know why I prefer listening to you than watching it live. Great commentary. Thanks. Uh 30-15 as Osaka hits it out on the return. 40-15. I think that was... I appreciate that. I think, maybe. Chat. Help. 40-15. Kyrgios on his phone, just chilling. All right, 40-15. Serve again. As the return goes down the line now from Pav, and it's a winner. Pavlyuchenkova takes the 3-love lead in the second set. All right. Nice. By the way, chat, if you don't know, if you haven't been paying attention for the last couple of days, maybe you haven't been here, I bought the entire series. Rockies won yesterday. That is also true. They won by 7-5. I bought the entire series of the X-Men animated series because I found it on eBay and it was pretty good price, so I bought it. Smartest thing I ever did. It came in 10 separate DVD cases, so one disc per case. What a waste of space. So what I did was I bought a 10-pack of 10-disc DVD cases. So, you know, the ones with like, when you open it and there's got like all these like folding, like a book, and you put all the discs in. So I bought it and I grabbed all the discs and I put them in this one case. And then I printed off a DVD case for that. Greatest idea ever. Now, what do I do with the rest of the cases, you might ask? What am I going to do with all these empty cases? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out I want to keep the artwork. I think the artwork of DVD cases, I don't want to throw them away. I'm going to put them in a sleeve, right? A sleeve book of sleeves, of DVD case sleeves. I'm going to put them in and save them, you know, because if I want to sell them again or if I want to get rid of them, I can put them back in their original case. And then I'm just going to, like, you know, put the cases somewhere else, right? That's dedication. That's called productivity and using your brain. And now that I've got all these 10-pack DVD cases, what I'm going to do is now I can start buying. I'm going to start trying to find all the original Fox X-Men series of movies, because there's about 10 of those. I'm going to go out to the thrift and I'm going to try and find like X-Men and Wolverine and Days of Future Past and blah, 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 blah. And then I can use one of these cases to then store all those that series of DVDs and a series of movies, right? So that's what I'm going to start doing. And then what I could do, go even further, is I could start getting direct, like let's say I can put all the Tarantino movies in one of these things because it's got 10 discs. He's got 10 movies. I just put all the Tarantino DVDs in one case. Anyways, 15:30. Pavlyuchenkova looking for the double break. As the return goes into the forehand of Osaka. Osaka hits wide though, and it's 15:40. Great buy cam. Used to love watching those. Yeah. I watched them probably a couple of years ago. And I thought, why not have them? 30-40. Why not get the whole series for, for myself? And I'm going to watch them or have them on the TV while I'm doing other stuff. All right, nice serve Osaka. She gets the deuce. I'm going to have time to watch them. See, I've already seen these, so I can just have them on the background while I'm doing something else. So that's the plan. You know, just having something on, you know, rather than having to sit down and actually, you know, I've already seen them. So, all right, advantage Osaka. Batman animated series with Badass. Oh, yeah, that's the next. I've got to find that eventually, too. There's a bit of serve in there from Osaka. Second serve. Cambuster DVD rentals loading. Yeah, that's my next. That's for my next trick. I'm going to open a DVD rental store. I'm going to revive a video store. That's my next. That's for my next trick. Anyways, Osaka gets the game 3-1. All right, 3-1 at Pavlyuchenkova. Then store them in a cloud. Look. Now you speak my language. All right, 3-1. As Osaka forehand goes long, and it's 15-love. $15-love. Cam's the first person to come up with DVD rentals. No. 30-love. Physical media slowly coming back. It's good. Yeah, it's because all the streaming services are making you pay $10 a month to watch ads. You know, they're really pushing people to. They're really pushing everyone's patience now. At first, it was buy this to not watch, to get an ad-free experience, and now you have to pay extra. So I think people are getting a bit sick and tired of it. And slowly, that's what turned me away. I was like, what the hell? I'm paying $15 a month and I'm getting ads. What am I doing? And then I was sitting there and I wasn't watching anything because I'm like, well, do I want to watch the Carlos Alcaraz documentary with ads, or do I want to pay $40 a month? And it's like, it's crazy. But anyways, backhand goes in the volley of Osaka. She puts it away 30-all. Now, there is some things I want to watch on Netflix, but they haven't come out yet, so I've got to wait for them to come out, and then, All right. But I think the big thing for streaming is just that, I just wasn't using them, I just wasn't using them. I'm like, why am I'm not even using half these things. I'm buying it to watch one show, and I'm not even watching it, so I decided to stop. 400 rally as Osaka goes down the line but long, and it's 40-30. It's just wasting money. I just don't have time to sit down and watch 7 days of Netflix, so why am I paying for it? All right. 40-30. As with a fault from Pav, second serve. Have you seen all 4 Bad Boys films with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are funny together? I've seen the original ones. I think I saw the 4th one, the 3rd one that sucked. But I watched the first one. I remember the first one too. Now it's back into backhand rally. As with a slice from Pav into the front of Osaka. Osaka gets a winner down the line. We get the deuce. Got the good series too, like Sopranos, Breaking Bad, etc. Yeah. Like I've got, what have I got? So I think I've got the first 3 seasons of The Wire, which you all said you got to watch. So I've got those 3. Yeah, so that's probably my next thing that I'm gonna binge watch. As we had a 4-0 from Osaka, that's a winner. Advantage Osaka to get back on serve. Watch Lost. I remember watching Lost. I'm not. I feel like I've watched Lost. I have watched it enough to know the gist of things. But The Wire, I have no idea about. And I've heard it's great. Just like The Sopranos. I'd never watched that. And then I watched the whole thing and I'm like, okay, I understand why everyone loves this. I've seen Breaking Bad. Is it a backhand return now to the backhand of Pav? Pav hits it wide. Osaka breaks. It was almost 4-love, and now it's 3-2. Stick to the classics. Fifth Element. Yeah, Fifth Element I'm looking for. I haven't found it yet. See, part of the fun of this whole thing is finding the movies. That's like... maybe if you're not a treasure hunter, you're not really into it, but I love going and finding these things. Like, I've got a list of movies and I'm looking for this. And I could go on eBay and I could go online and just buy it. But where's the fun in that? I love going through and looking for if I find it, especially if I've been looking for There Will Be Blood for so long. I can't find that freaking DVD. Where is There Will Be Blood? I can't find it anywhere. But when I do find it, it'll be a great day. The thrill of the hunt. That's what I'm into. I love it. So much fun. And the Fifth Element's on that list, so I'm looking for that. And I will find it. 28 Days Later is also on the list. I can't find that. But when I find it, I will know. I will tell you. I've already seen There Will Be Blood, and I've already seen Fifth Element. I've already seen these movies, but they're classics, so I just want to have them. And I feel like I haven't seen Fifth Element recently. So it's something that I want to watch, but I want to find it, and then I'll watch it. It's the thrill of the chase. thrill of the chase. And then you find the movie and then you get to watch it and you're like, yes. Then I will find these movies. Anyways, 3-2. Somebody got us onto this. Somebody, I don't know what it was. A lovely return winner there from Pavlyuchenkova, love 15. Also looking for gremlins. As that return goes into the forehand of Osaka. Forehand from Pavlyuchenkova, the backhand of Osaka. In the backhand of Pav, Osaka backhand in the net, love 30. Love 30. Collingwood versus Carlton is on. Yeah, couldn't give a shit. As long as Carlton beat Collingwood, that's all I care about. I could not care less about two teams that are not my team. Essendon play tomorrow. All right, first serve is a fault, second serve. Second serve. As we're back in return now, the backhand of Pav. Backhand now from Osaka down the line to the forehand of Pavlyuchenkova. Forehand now from Osaka's a winner, 15-30. Cam's Wimbledon hairpiece is the best one. Yeah, I'm gonna take insults from somebody who doesn't even want to show their face. Yeah, from an anonymous person on the internet. Why don't you show your face and then we can trade? You say something, I say something. It's funny then. You saying it just makes you sound like a dick. I can't even comment on you. You don't even have a face. 15-30. I'm sure you have luscious locks. And you look like the Fabio. 15-30 as we have a forehand now cross court. It goes out by Pavlyuchenkova, 30-all. 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 As Osaka serves. A fault, second serve. $30-all. You look frustrated? Are you going to tell me that Alcaraz is worse than Sinner again? Seems to be the thing you do every day. What do you want to tell me? Sinner's better than Alcaraz? We know. He's number one. 40-30. Osaka with a beautiful winner. Timed that 18 times, Massimo. On that account. What about the other accounts? All right. 40-30, mods. They know. 40-30. It is like heckling. It is, isn't it? Online heckling. That's what I deal with on the daily. 8 hours of hecklers. Anyways, double fault. We get the deuce. That's all right. It's the internet. I can respond. But not to anonymous people who don't have profile pictures who talk about my hair or my wig, whatever. I don't know. But it's called online bullying. Bullying that's a bit extreme. It's only bullying if I take offense. All right, deuce. It's only bullying if I cry. And I don't cry on stream. All right. Pav hits a winner. Advantage Pavlyuchenkova. The hair looks great, don't worry. Thank you. I appreciate that. I tried very hard today. Rockies won today. Yeah, well, you should have bet on him. All right, advantage Pav. To take the break again. She was up 3-love. She almost went up 4-love. As the return goes into the backhand of Osaka, Pavlyuchenkova backhand down the line. Goes out. We're back to deuce. All right, back to deuce. Also, Sierra has taken the first set off Buksha, and Anisimova is up a set against Gelfi. So that is happening. I take your hair as a wig any day. Please don't. Please don't. I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night tomorrow, aren't I? And you're going to be standing over with clippers. I want your hair. Deuce. Backhand goes in from Osaka. Beautiful inside out winner. Advantage Osaka. Advantage Osaka. Beautiful shot. I don't know if she meant that, but she's smiling and she'll take it. All right. By the way, today's supposed to be really warm. So, yeah, it does look hot on court. It is supposed to be warm today. All right. Nice serve. Osaka levels. There's a Man United fan who doesn't cut his hair until his team wins 5 in a row. I've seen that guy. He comes up on my feed all the time. And his hair's like out here. I've seen that guy. I would never take that challenge. Why would I do that challenge? What would it be? I'm not cutting my hair until Dasha wins a title. I'm not doing that. I have to show up here every day, and you guys, I always hear comments about my hair even when it's looking good. So I'm not doing, no way I'm doing that. But I see that guy on my feed all the time. He's like, it's day 237 of not cutting my hair. I'm like, that sucks, bro. Anyways, 3-all. 3-all. He's got a forehand rally. Osaka goes again to the forehand of Pavlyuchenkova. Pavlyuchenkova is a wide, love 15. Until Draper wins Wimbledon? No. When will we shave your beard and mustache? Man, never. All right, love 15. The gray's creeping in. You're working too hard. I don't think it's because of the hard work. I think it's someone else. Anyways, love 15. As the return goes down the line and wide by Osaka, 15-0. Since Dasha is Australian now, she wins the Australian Open, you cut your hair. I'm sorry, why are you making up the rules, chat? I'm making up the rules. It's my hair. If I was ever going to do a challenge like that, I would be not cutting my hair until Dasha wins a title. And she can win a title, so I might be able to cut my hair. It wouldn't be until something that's not going to happen, because then I'd and I love Dasha, but why would I be like, oh, I'm not going to cut my hair until she wins the Australian Open? It's like, why would I do that? 30-15. At least that guy on the internet saying, Man United could win 5 in a row. So there's a realistic chance that he could cut his hair again. If he was like, until they win 10, 20 in a row, it's like, well, why would you do that? That's crazy. Chat, you don't understand how gambling works. Come on now. There's got to be a slight chance to make it interesting. Otherwise, it's just like, what's the point? I'm not going to cut my hair until Roger Federer comes out of retirement. Huh? Why? So you don't want to cut your hair? Okay. So you want long hair. Okay. Just grow your hair. You don't need to make a bet. All right, 40-15. I already made a bet and lost this year, Chad. I had to cut my hair like Mensick because he won Miami. Backhand goes wide by Osaka and Pav stays up 4-3. All right, 4-3. 4-3. What a forehand, yeah. You must have nice hair. Who? Okay. Pavlyuchenkova has the lead again, 4-3. She was up 3-love. How many slams Osaka played since 21? Good question. I would say probably 5. I think she's played 2 Australian Opens, a couple of French, a couple of Wimbledon. Oh, maybe 7. Maybe 7. 7 since 21. She didn't play in 23, so she played... Oh, no, she's played 11. Oh, sorry, no, 9. 9. So, Australian Open 3 times, French Open 3 times, Wimbledon twice now, so 10 times. 10 slams since 21. She took all the 23 off. She played all slams last year. She's played all this year, and she didn't play Wimbledon in 22 because after the French Open, she decided to have a break. Or she got injured at the French, maybe. She got injured at the French. Because 2021 was when the media was going off, right? And she was like, I'm not doing press conferences. And they all went, what do you mean? You got to answer my question. She lost in the first round. Oh, there we go. She lost to Anisimova in Roland Garros 21. Grass season's the worst. Yeah, we said this the other day. We were talking about this the other day, how if it wasn't for Wimbledon, the grass season probably wouldn't exist. And I believe that. You know? If it wasn't for Wimbledon, I think the grass season probably would have been extinct. All right, Osaka with an ace, 10 aces for the day. You know? Because the only reason they have... I mean, grass used to be at Australian Open, US Open, all around the world. There used to be grass events before the Australian Open in Australia back in the 80s and 70s. Back, like, there was a Sydney grass event. I think there was an Adelaide grass event. There used to be grass tennis everywhere in Australia before the Australian Open because obviously it was grass. But then in the 80s when they moved to hard courts, grass disappeared and Wimbledon was the only one, you know? And now there's 5 weeks of grass and that's if you do well at Wimbledon. Backhand goes wide. But if Wimbledon wasn't on grass, I don't think grass would exist. I think it's too annoying to maintain. It's a pain in the ass to maintain. And I don't think players... 5 weeks is not enough to get... Or 3 weeks to warm up for grass is not enough to get ready for grass properly. I think if the grass season was 2 months, that would probably make sense. But can it be 2 months, though? No, because the French Open's in the way. You know? If Wimbledon stays where it is, you'd have to start in May on grass to make it a tournament, make it worthwhile. But unless Wimbledon moved to August, the grass season's not going to get any longer. The fact that the French Open and Wimbledon are so close together, that's why the grass season doesn't get any. That's why we don't have a 1,000. That's why we don't have more grass tournaments. That's why we don't have a longer grass season. It's because those tournaments are in Europe, and they both have to be in summer, right? You can't have Wimbledon in winter or even in fall, right? 4-0. And the French Open aren't going to move. Because I don't think you can even start grass in May because it would be raining still. But yeah. All right. There's a bit of serve out wide from Pav. 4-0. Diao used to be grass until 1987. Yep. All right, Pavlyuchenkova serves again. Forehand of Osaka. Forehand from Pav. Goes long. And it's 15. Love 15. Did you see what Goran said to Steph? Yeah. We talked about that at length at the start of the match. Yeah. And I think it's good. I think he's trying to help Steph by maybe making things public a little bit. hoping for change. Trying to get. He's been hired to do a job, and he's trying to get a reaction, I think, or get a response from Steph. So I don't think it's a bad thing. It just depends on how Steph reacts to it. Unless if Goran gets if he lets Goran go, then that. I think Goran's taking a risk by doing it, but I think it's a good idea to try and get a response from Steph. I think it's not. I think he's doing it for the right reasons. As Osaka hits it long, it's 15-30. And hopefully for Steph, he does, the public pressure of what Goran has said is hopefully does give him a bit, not embarrassing him publicly. I don't think it's embarrassing him. It's not for that reason. I don't think he's doing it for that. I think he's doing it so that he can get a response from Steph, because Steph's may not be listening to him behind the scenes. So I think he's trying to do it. I think he's trying to again. We talked about this at length. Just rewind the stream. You can watch it at the start. 15:40. Yeah, Massimo, you got to stop complaining, mate. $15.40. As Pav serves an ace, 30-40. 30-40. Still a break point for Osaka to get the break and serve the match. Serve is out wide. Too good. Pavlyuchenkova gets the deuce. All right, we get the deuce. Serve again. Into the back of Osaka, return. Goes out, and it's advantage Pavlyuchenkova. To take the lead again. Serve is a fault. Second serve. Serve to the forehand of Osaka. Forehand from Pavlyuchenkova. To the forehand of Osaka in the net. Pavlyuchenkova holds. Stays in front. 5-4. 5-4. Grand Slams must be truly exhausting for you. Great job. That's all right. They're not that bad. No different than working 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. Luckily, the Wimbledon curfew stops me from streaming over 12 hours, so that's good. We cannot stream over 12 hours. Well, we can, but we don't because Wimbledon stop before. Yeah. So the French Open's harder. French Open's way harder. All the other slams that don't have a curfew. That really, I mean, yesterday we finished 2 hours earlier than the curfew, which was even better. I got to watch the Shelton match until it stopped. You'll be watching the All Blacks play France on Friday tomorrow? No, because I'm Australian, and I'm wearing this because I went to New Zealand and I got this as a. I bought this because I wanted a souvenir from New Zealand when I went there. Go Pies. Go away. Celebrate in silence. As serve. You're beating Carlton. Don't get that in. It's not that impressive, all right? Call me when you beat a good team. All right. 5-4. As a return goes off the tape to the back of Osaka. Osaka in the net, though. Love 15. love 15. Love 15. Serving the backhand of Pavlyuchenkova. Osaka backhand is a winner down the line. Beautiful shot. 15 all. 15 all. Osaka serves an ace. 30-15. What happened to the match time? It's right there. 30-15. As we just serve again. And the return goes in from Pav. 30 all. No, that's right, Gene. I moved it because I think it looks better there. All right. $30 all. As Osaka serves a fault. Second serve. Bye-bye Osaka, leave Wimbledon. She's still winning. 30 all. As the backhand goes wide by Osaka and it's 30-40. She won the first set. I don't know what you're talking about. What the hell? Bye-bye. No, she's up. She's still one set up. She has to lose the next two sets. All right, 30-40. Set point, Pav. As Osaka serves again. Serve to the forehand, Pavlyuchenkova. Great return. Osaka in the net. All right. Pavlyuchenkova takes the second. We're going 3. We're going 3. Okay. We are going 3. Hope Osaka wins. Well, she's got to fight. Apparently, Jack Nicholson demanded a percentage of the box office to play Joker, pocketed $150 million. Oh, Jack Nicholson deserves it. This dude's a goat. Are you serious? Come on. You don't think Jack deserves every penny of that? He's a legend. Jack Nicholson's from all the work that he did before that, he deserved it. Also, he probably didn't want to play a silly comic book movie. You know what I mean? Because what happened before Tim Burton's Batman, comic book movies were silly, or comic book shows were silly. You remember the Batman in the 60s, and there was movies that came out that were like, they weren't serious, they were silly cartoons that were turned into real life. So that movie changed the perception of comic book movies, and now we have like everything's a comic book movie and everything's serious, right? But he probably thought, oh, I'm going to play a silly clown in a comic book movie? Oh, God, all right, well, you better pay me. Probably little did he know that he was playing an iconic character, that he was going to be legendary and was going to make millions and millions of dollars. And he's probably just like, all right, well, give me a percentage of the box office, thinking it was probably not going to do anything, you know? But little did he know that it was going to become one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Is Osaka possible come back to top 5 at least? I don't know. I mean, I would start by saying top 30 and then top 20, then top 10, and we'll go from there. Just watched The Departed for the first time. I've been under a rock. Yeah, that's a great movie. I hope you... did you like it? I got that movie. It's great. With so many people out of work, the best grass courts. With so many people out of work, the best grass courts. I have no idea what that sentence was. What were you trying to say? What did I miss? Are more than half the seeds eliminated from the men and women's side? Yes, I think so. I think it's like 15 on the women's side and 13 left on the men. So, yeah. All right. Pavlyuchenkova serving first in the third. 15 love. Maintenance crew needs work. Again, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? By the way, chat, did anybody notice on center court after the Zverev match how damaged the court looked? Does anybody know why the courts look so damaged after the Zverev match? On the baseline in particular. Go watch the highlights of Rinderknech versus Zverev and look at the baseline after that match and how, and I think even now, they couldn't really fix it. You can see on this court, you can't see it as much, but you can see a little bit, but it's, after a week of grass, it's different. But look at that. It was on day 2, right? Go look at the end of that Rinderknech-Zverev match and look how many, the lines on the baseline that are just carved into the grass. And let me know, does anyone know how that happened or why that happened? 40-15. Zverev dug a hole in it. 40-15. Zverev was dragging his feet while he served. Yep. Yeah, I saw that too. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. Obviously totally legal because it's just a service action. But yeah, he was... So what was happening in that Zverev match, 40-30, is Zverev was and it's just his serve, right? So he must do that on all the surfaces like clay and stuff. But he was dragging his foot along the grass and it was digging... like damaging the court, basically. And if you look on center court after that match, in the highlights, you can just see these massive lines that have just been, scraped into the court after 5 hours, or 5 sets, of him serving. And because I saw it on day 3, and I was like, why are the courts so shit? Like, they look so broken. And you can see the baseline's a bit patchy, but on that court, it had these massive lines where his foot was dragging. And it was because Zverev was serving that way. Zverev's serve made that happen. Because most people don't drag their feet or their back foot to serve, right? Usually, when you're serving, you do drag your feet a little bit, but he was like just ripping the court, just constantly, like over 5 sets. I've never seen that. I've never seen that happen before. But it was very interesting when I saw that. I saw a video of him dragging his foot. I was like, oh, that makes sense why the courts look like that. Because it was after day 2. It was like, why do the courts look so damaged after 2 days? And why are they specifically lines on the court? And it was mainly because Zverev was serving the way that he was. Can he get fined for that? No, because that's... when you throw your racket and damage the court by throwing a racket, you get fined. I think it's $10,000 a pop. But if you're serving, you're not doing anything deliberately. You're just playing tennis. So if you're just playing the game, I don't think he gets in trouble for that. What are you supposed to do? Like, change your service action. It's like, what? Change how you play tennis. No, they're not going to penalize someone for playing tennis, right? They do penalize people for throwing rackets because that's got obviously it's a bad look and you're ruining the courts and you don't have to do that. But Zverev has to serve. So they're not going to make him not serve that way. But it was interesting when I saw the courts. I was like, what's that all about? And then now seeing how Zverev was serving in that match, I was like, makes sense why that happened. I don't know if Zverev's been on center court Maybe he was on, like, I don't know if it's happened every year he plays or if it's just maybe this year it was hotter and the courts were a little easier to damage on the first day because of the lack of water in the dirt. But Hemant said the other day it's a work in progress, but they're been advertising it within the grounds for the last couple of years. I have no idea what you're saying. 10K is crazy. I don't know if it's 10K every time, but it's definitely up to $10,000 or £10,000. As Pav in the net with the forehand return, it's 30-all. All right. 30-all. Oh, somebody was asking about the Wimbledon expansion. Yeah, the locals don't want the expansion because it will invite more people to the venue, and they think it's also going to be a waste of time and waste of money because of it's only used for 2 or 3 weeks a year, and it's like, why are we going to build a stadium for no reason? So the locals don't want the new stadium, and they're opposing it. Obviously, Wimbledon want it for extra ticket sales, and they can bring more people, and they can bring value to the community by lifting, by bringing more revenue to the town. But the locals don't want more people. They don't want more people around, because if you expand, you can then sell more tickets, which then means more people will show up. So the locals don't want it, especially, and they don't see the value in it because 3 weeks a year Wimbledon's on, and then after that it's just going to sit there empty, and it's a waste of space. So they want it. I think the local residents want something that's more for the community and not for the tournament. So they want it to be reused as like a park or something. So Wimbledon are trying to do this balancing act where they're trying to build a stadium and a bunch of new courts, but in the off season it can be used as a park. So they're trying to, like, Wimbledon are trying to play ball with, no pun intended, with the locals, but the locals are like, no, we want it to be for us. We don't want you to just build a stadium and ruin our town, and waste the space for 3 weeks a year, and not, for the rest of the year it's a waste of space. So that seems to be where it's at, and I think that Wimbledon were denied, but they're appealing to the council to try and get it overturned so they can try and build. It looks great, but I can understand that the locals don't want it because they've got to deal with it for the most part. They're living there, right? They've got to deal with with 3 empty stadiums basically. Anyways, advantage Pavlyuchenkova. Yeah, something like 30 extra courts, like a whole bunch of new things, like a practice and stuff. Double fault. 2-1. 2-love. Pavlyuchenkova, final set. The locals can rent their houses like golf tournaments, pay their mortgage for a year. They could, but I mean, imagine this. Imagine you lived across the road from Wimbledon, and then you had to, every year, you had to rent your house out, and you had to go find somewhere else to live for 3 weeks. That'd be a shit pain in the ass. Like, imagine every year you had to leave your house for 3 weeks and to rent it out to a random stranger that might be a professional tennis player, but still a random person. And you had to leave. Like, that would be a pain to do that every single year. Now, yeah, okay, the money might be something, but imagine you had to do that all the friggin' every time. Or you sit and stay, and then you have to deal with Wimbledon for 2 weeks. And I know someone's going to write in, oh, they should just move then. Yeah, okay, you move house. It's just so simple. I'm just going to leave my house. Maybe they want to live in the area of Wimbledon. Maybe they got that house handed down to them from their grandparents, and it's a family house, right? And they want to keep it in the family, and they don't want to sell and leave. They don't want to leave. They should, the residents they've got to live there most of the time, so they deserve a voice, I think. Now, I like the expansion. I think it's a great idea for us as a sport, and it looks cool, but I'm like, but you also got to respect the people that live there for the majority of the year. We come here 2 weeks a year. We watch Wimbledon 2 weeks a year, right? These people have to live there 50 weeks after that. So they should also get to have a say in what happens in their neighborhood, because it is their neighborhood. We're just visiting, for 2 weeks. 30-15. As Pavlyuchenkova serves again. But as an architect, I love the expansion. But I respect the residents. So, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. As that goes the net from Osaka, 40-15. 40-15 for a 3-love lead. Wimbledon has enough courts. Well, yeah, Wimbledon doesn't have a problem with running the tournament, right? They don't run out of courts, and more courts might not change things. It just means that more practice facilities and maybe more activities for fans, I guess, right? And more ticket sales because they can bring more people in because it's not as cramped. As Osaka hits it out, it's 3-love for Pavlyuchenkova. That's why the location of a slam is so important. AO is in Melbourne CBD, so can make noise. But the thing is, Wimbledon can't move because Wimbledon is in Wimbledon. And again, you can't move the holy grail of tennis, the home of tennis. You can't move it. Wimbledon's always been and will always be in Wimbledon. You can't just pick it up and go, we're going to move it to the outskirts of London to another place and call it Wimbledon. It's like, that's not what it is. Especially Wimbledon's screwed because you can't move it. Kind of like Roland Garros. It can't move because Roland Garros is part of the area. It's Melbourne Park was lucky, right? We were lucky in the 80s that before the city started to expand, they were able to find a spot to throw it, right? It'd be impossible to try and move Melbourne Park now. They'd have to move it to the Docklands, which nobody goes there anyway. But, Wimbledon can't move. They're stuck. They're stuck to the location, and they will never be able to move. You'd have to call it the British Championships if you wanted to move. It's been there since... Well, it has been moved. It has been moved. Apparently, it started on Warple Road, and now it's on Church Road. In 1922, it did move. So 100 years ago, Wimbledon did move locations. It went from Warple Road... So the All England Club moved. It started on Warple Road, and it moved to Church Road. But it was on Warple Road first. Where's Warple Road in Wimbledon? I wonder if there's any remnants of the old. Is that Warple Road? Oh, wow. Interesting. Oh, Warple Road. I know Warple Road. I remember that place. So it was on Warple Road, and then it got moved a little bit further out where there was a bit more space. So it was. Let me have a look. Where exactly was on Warple Road? It was between Warple Road and Railway Line. Interesting. The history of Wimbledon. Here we go. There must be a sign somewhere in that area that you could look it up. The All England Club took the final decision for a new location. Oh, wait, hang on. Did you know the All England Club was formed in 1968? There was was not the current Wimbledon site. Shown below in the map. 1896, the club was based on Warple Road until 1922. The first championships and even the Olympics were not played at the existing site back in 1908. Interesting. I did not know that. Chat, did you know that? Did you know that Wimbledon wasn't in this current location and it moved in 1922? I didn't know that. The All England Club took the final decision to make a new location after an incident at the 1919 championships where the police were struggling to contain the huge crowds. The club was moved to Church Road in 1922 with the number one court opening in 1924. Take a look at the map below. Okay. So Warple Road, they couldn't handle the crowds. So Wimbledon was getting so popular, they had to move. And now they moved it out to the outskirts where there was a bit more space at the time. But then obviously as it's grown and grown and grown, they need more space again. So there you go. There you go, chat. We learned things. 3-1. 3-1. So the All England Club was like, again, a little small contained patch of grass. And then 100 years ago, 1922, there was a lot more space than in 2025. A lot more land. Oh, there's a sign out at Warple Road. I'd love to go find it. Go on an exploration. Yeah, it seems to be there must be a plaque out at Warple Road saying the original Wimbledon site or something. That's cool. We learn stuff, chat, every day. Every day. Anyways, there are still some. If it's where I'm looking at, it looks like there are still some space out there where they used to be. Anyways, love 15 as Osaka hits another winner. It's love 30. Chance for Osaka to take the break back. Love 30. Love 30. As Pavlyuchenkova serves a fault, second serve. As the return goes in the form of Pavlyuchenkova, who hits it in the net. Love 40. Love 40. So yeah, I'm just having a look at where the original Wimbledon site was. They've still got a massive patch of grass there, but they play football on it. So it's still there. The original Wimbledon site. Looks like it's home to like an ambulance station and Wimbledon High School playing field. There you go. Anyways, so it got converted to a school. Cool. Anyways, love 40. Served to the tee, the forehand of Osaka. Return goes to the forehand of Pavlyuchenkova. Osaka back on the stretch. Pav comes in. Puts it away. One saved. 15-40. And chat, when Wimbledon did move back in 1922, there weren't houses around. So it was out in the middle of nowhere, Wimbledon, at the time, but then they built the houses around it. So Wimbledon was there first. Interesting. 15-40. 4-1 rally as Osaka goes down the line for a winner. There's the break back. 3-2, we're back on serve. I'm looking at the map here. Back in this is a map from 1913. There's a big patch of grass between, I guess, Church Road and Somerset Road. I think that's where it's located, between those two roads. It's split into two. But there's a big patch of grass between those two roads, and they're like, that's where we're going to move. But at the time when they moved, there was no houses around. Looking here, it's just like a cricket ground, and there's a whole bunch of grass. There's just an empty lot. So they moved out that way, I guess, and then eventually they built houses and stuff around it. Yeah, Church Road and Somerset Road. And then they built the stadium before they started to build the residence around. I mean, when it was moved out there was a sports ground. I love this shit, Chad. I'm sorry if you don't, but I do. There was a cricket ground across the road. There was a sports ground just behind. A lot of green grass. Just not many houses. And then they obviously sold off the rest of the land to people to buy houses and make houses, right? And build houses. And they did. And now it's in the middle of... Well, now there's houses everywhere. There's still, like, over the road, though, there's still that sports ground and stuff, which is where they're trying to expand. But on the behind them and on the side, there's, obviously lining the streets, houses line the streets and stuff. But there you go, chap. I learned something new. Yep. That all happened. They moved to the current site? Because, I mean, look, they would never have been able to stay in Walpole Road because Walpole Road was already a small enough, too small. I mean, if they couldn't do crowd control there, imagine in 2025 if it was still there. There would be no space. They would have had to demolish houses and stuff. All right. 15, love. By the way, happy 4th of July. I forgot to say that at the top. 15, love. As that goes out from Pav. 30, love. So who gets priority, Wimbledon or the residents? Well, that's where the council come in and they have to play ball with both because the residents obviously they're more and they're many and Wimbledon are less. But Wimbledon were there. It seemed like Wimbledon were there first. But again, Wimbledon have to play ball because the residents are the residents are more of them, right? So Wimbledon have to play by the rules, even though they might have been there earlier. Because again, Wimbledon don't make the rules. You know, there's always going to be the local council are always going to be the ones that make or break the rules, right? Well, make the rules. They don't break the rules, but make the rules. So Wimbledon are just like everybody. I mean, if the guy across the street from Wimbledon wants to build a mansion, he's going to have to apply for approval, you know? Or if somebody down the road wants to put up a terrace on the top of their roof instead of having a roof, they're going to have to get approval for that, and people might not like that. So the Wimbledon have to obey the rules like everybody else. So yeah. Wimbledon should say we were here first. We were here first 100 years ago. No, I don't think... See, the thing is now that even though Wimbledon were there first, it seems like they were there first. Maybe the landowners of the day were there before Wimbledon. I don't know, but you have to ask. Have to go back in time. But yeah. But I don't think Wimbledon. Wimbledon's in a tough position because Wimbledon is Wimbledon, and the residents are the people. So it's like, well, you want the big bad corporate tennis event, that it is become now, bullying the residents of Wimbledon, being like, oh, we don't care about you, we're going to do it anyway. Like, they've got a reputation to they won't look good if they start like, pissing everybody off and making, bullying all the residents. So they have to maintain that as well, right? They have to kind of maintain that, we're not just going to like start, because they could probably buy out all the houses and demolish them if they really wanted to, but obviously they don't want to do that, or they can't afford to do that. Maybe, I don't know, but there is a possibility they could have just bought every house across the street and just been like, we'll just figure out how to get rid of them, But they don't want to do that. They want to play nice with the community because the community make, they help. They want to keep it as a. That's I guess they want to keep that nice, friendly relationship. 15-30. Is it a forehand now from Osaka? She was down 3-love here. She's trying to break the lead. Is it a backhand again into the net from Pav? 15-40. 15-40. Osaka to take the lead. 15-40. Serve. Is an ace. One saved. 30-40. 30-40. Serve again. Serve to the front of Osaka. Return goes out, but no. That was called a fault. All right, second serve. Second serve. Into the backhand of Osaka. Backhand up from Pavlyuchenkova. Down the line's a winner, and we get the deuce. We get to deuce. By the way, we've got Fritz taking on Fokina. Coming up in 30 minutes. All right, deuce. There's a bit of return now from Osaka. Goes long. Advantage Pavlyuchenkova. To stay in front. It's Independence Day. It is. All right, advantage Pavlyuchenkova. Serve to the backhand of Osaka. Backhand now from Pavlyuchenkova. Backhand Osaka again to the backhand of Pav. Osaka backhand again to the backhand of Pavlyuchenkova. Osaka goes down the line. Pavlyuchenkova gets with a forehand but hits it wide. We get to deuce again. This feels like an important game. This feels like a very important game. All right, we get to deuce. Good serve down the tee. Osaka returns a lob. Pavlyuchenkova with a forehand inside out. Backhand goes in from Osaka, but Pav with a volley. Osaka gets it! Oh, but it goes out. Pavlyuchenkova was walking away like it was over. Luckily, it was over. All right. Advantage Pavlyuchenkova. To take the lead. She serves a let. Serve again. Into the forehand of Osaka, backhand of Pav. Into the forehand of Osaka is Pavlyuchenkova backhand again. Goes in the net. We're back to deuce. Back to deuce. Serve out wide. And then Osaka hits it. Ooh, out in the return. That would have been a hell of a shot. All right, advantage Pavlyuchenkova. As Pavlyuchenkova serves. Into the forehand of Osaka. Return goes to the forehand of Pav. Osaka forehand goes out. 4-3 Pavlyuchenkova. 4-3. Peter.
Wimby posted a stat that we have the fewest seeded players, 28 in third round. Not sure if they meant from all Grand Slams, but that is still impressive.
Is it impressive? Is that the word I would use? Is that the word we should use? Impressive? I don't know if it's impressive. But yeah, I would say that they're probably talking about Wimbledon. I don't know if they would have mentioned of all slams if it was all slams, I think, so. All right. All right. Four, 3. Impressively bad. Yeah. All right. 4-3. Osaka serves. A fault. Second serve. Into the backhand of Pavlyuchenkova. Good return. Osaka in trouble. As with a forehand in the net from Osaka. Love 15. See, the thing is, and I said this yesterday, the problem with all the upsets, yes, they're exciting. Yes, they're, obviously when we start the tournament, oh my God, all of these things. But once we get to the third and fourth rounds, especially the fourth round is not going to be as good as we want. We're going to complain about how random the seeds, the matches are. Because the players who have lost are not going to face each other anymore. Love 30, Osaka in trouble. So even though the upsets are fun at the time, this is what happened at the US Open. US Open last year, the reason why I think it was not as good as the other tournaments is because of the upsets. I think all the upsets that happened early in that tournament, with on the men's side, Djokovic and Alcaraz, for example, I feel like it ruined the tournament long term. Because if those players hadn't lost, we would have had better matches. And Sinner would have had a harder road, I think. Sinner would have had to play harder matchups had those guys not lost, for example. There's other players that lost too, but those two guys in particular. Anyways, 15-30. Osaka trying to level. So as long as we don't get too many more upsets, because let's be honest, if we get more upsets, then this tournament's going to be Sinner or Alcaraz versus a qualifier in the final, and nobody wants that. I feel like we've had enough upsets. That's enough. No more upsets. No more upsets. We need some good quarterfinals. We can't have just a bunch of random quarterfinalists. It's not good for anybody. 40-30. 40-30. Osaka to level. 7 to the final. Pav Shank said, all right, 4-4. Oh, chat, this is getting real now. This match is getting serious now. Unfortunately, Wimbledon will always be the worst quality slam. What do you mean? I feel like, 2023 Wimbledon on the men's side wasn't good until the final. I think we can all... I remember that tournament not being good, and then the final was saved it. But I tell you, chat, we've still got some good matchups, potentially. There is still hope. Djokovic men's quarterfinal. Shelton Sinner quarterfinal. Demon or Djokovic could be interesting too. I hope it's interesting for my countrymen's sake. Fonseca Alcaraz could be a quarterfinal. We could be getting Rublev Alcaraz fourth round. That could be interesting. There's a lot of matches that we're not going to get into as much. Keys versus Sabalenka quarterfinal. Sabalenka Svitolina in the fourth round could be fun, right? That could be interesting. Raducanu Swiatek is still a thing. Also, Navarro Andreeva could be a thing. Andreeva versus Bencic could be a quarterfinal. Now it's getting after those matches it gets tough. Who's my GOAT? There's no such thing as my GOAT. It's the GOAT or nothing. The GOAT is Novak Djokovic. My favorite player is Leighton Hewitt. All right, 30 love. As the return goes into the backhand of Pavlyuchenkova. Forehand from Osaka to the forehand of Pavlyuchenkova. As Osaka forehand goes long. 40 love. 40 love. To take the lead again and make Osaka serve to stay in the match. 40 love. As Pavlyuchenkova serves into the forehand of Osaka. Pavlyuchenkova drop shot. It's too good. 5-4. Pavlyuchenkova takes the lead and forces Osaka to serve to stay in the match. All right. By the way, 20 minutes from now, we have Fokina versus Fritz. Fritz is at 2-5 setters. So we'll get to see whether or not he can recover. I'm here for all the people complaining about Pavlyuchenkova having the nerve to win. She's got the experience, though. I mean, I don't think Pavlyuchenkova is a random person to make the fourth round of quarterfinals. It's just not maybe the popular choice, but she's definitely not random. Okay. Osaka serving to stay in the match. All right. As Osaka serves. As return goes into the forehand of Osaka, but no, that goes wide from Pav. 15-love. It feels like the Eastern European players don't get enough media or fan support. I don't think that's... I mean, I don't know. Don't they? Give me 7 examples. As a bit of backhand into the net by Osaka, and it's 15-all. No, it's not real. It's not true. Okay. I mean, Djokovic. Look at the chat, mostly Osaka supporters. Oh, you're talking about in this situation. Oh, okay. 15-all. Sabalenka, I mean, you're talking about in this match. Yeah, well, Osaka's one of the most popular players on the planet. So it's hard to play Osaka, even if you're from Australia, if you're from South America. I mean, you could insert country here, and Osaka's probably going to be more popular. Even Swiatek. You know, you could argue that Osaka's going to have more people supporting her than maybe Swiatek, which is crazy because she has the whole of Poland, you know? So, I mean, compare... I wouldn't take it personal. I don't think people are not supporting Eastern European. I think they're just very much supporting Osaka. She's probably top 3 active players with the most followers on Instagram and all that shit too, you know? You're talking about one of the most popular players in the world. I think like the second highest paid female tennis player as well. I mean, at the moment, I think Gauff might be 1. So again, I don't think you can generalize against Osaka. Osaka is too, I mean, it's not personal. Focus on the game. It's almost done. All right, relax. 30-all. As Osaka serves a fault second serve. Second serve. Into the back of Pav. Return gets back into Osaka. Pavlyuchenkova, forehand cross court. Osaka gets it out. Match point for Pavlyuchenkova to take her spot in the 4th round and knock Osaka out. 30-40. Osaka with a serve. Serve to the back of the Pav. Good return to the front of Osaka, who hits it long. Pavlyuchenkova wins. Fights back from a set down and knocks Osaka out. GG's. Pavlyuchenkova, I mean, nobody's talking about her. She's had some decent runs at slams over the time. She's been in the final of the French Open a couple of years ago. She is very capable of doing things, especially when Wimbledon is so random. Disappointing for Osaka. Big opportunity for her that, if she got through this one, she maybe could have made the quarters. There's a big chance that she could have played someone like Anisimova. But Anisimova's in trouble, I think, at the moment too. So, Anisimova's winning the final set now, but shit. All right, so Pav wins. She's going to take on either Parry or Cartel. So like I said, chat, we're going to have random quarterfinalists. That's what upsets do. It paves the way for random matches or random players. I tell you, if you put Anisimova in the semis, you might be feeling pretty good because she has a pretty nice road to the semis if she can hold her nerve. All right. But Pavlyuchenkova is into the fourth round of Wimbledon yet again. And Osaka stops at the third round. Now Osaka can go back to the hard courts where she does her best work. So maybe it's not the worst thing. Maybe Osaka can use the extra couple of weeks to get ready for the season that she performs best at. All right. And the first match is done. We got a banger to start, though. It's a long, big match. We love that. Why Osaka kept having ball toss problem? I don't know if I didn't seem that windy, but yeah, the ball toss kept going all over the place. So she was having the issues. Not sure why that would have been. Just not having a good day, nervous maybe on the serve. Why do you think Osaka lets too many three-setters slip? I don't know. I'm not sure what. It must be a psychological reason. Osaka had a chance to get to the quarterfinals, but either way, she played well. Yeah, it's not her best surface, but that was a missed opportunity, I think. Pavlyuchenkova made the quarterfinals of Australian Open, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, I mean, Pavlyuchenkova is more than capable. All right. So we've got Fritz taking on Fokina coming up in a little bit. And then we've got Alcaraz taking on who's he playing? Struff. That could be interesting, that one. If Struff's on serve today, that could be interesting. That could be a very interesting match. Osaka is still working to get back to top form, but she has made good progress after being gone for a while. Yeah. I think bringing Patrick Mouratoglou on has been a slow and steady rise. And again, her best tennis will come on the hard courts. So now that she had a great clay season compared to, previous years, she had a decent Wimbledon. That was a decent result. It wasn't a win. She didn't win make the quarters or anything, but she did get to a third round of Wimbledon. That's something that she, equals her best result, right? So yeah, she is getting there slowly. But now, after this, now it's like the real test, right? Osaka on hard courts, we expect a lot more, don't we? Osaka can do very well at the US Open swing, making the quarterfinals, hopefully. Yeah, well, I think we all expect her to perform better on the hard courts now. If she can do well on the clay and do okay on the grass, then she should feel pretty good when we're going back on that hard court. Sabalenka's game going to have many long rallies. Sabalenka going to lose. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Pavlyuchenkova was no slouch either, for sure. Osaka, Montreal. Yeah, that could be interesting. Monfils is about to lose. Yeah. He was about to win yesterday, wasn't he? He was like one game away from winning yesterday, I think, or a couple of points away, right? Next, WTA Hardcourt Prague in 12 days. Okay. Has anyone been talking about how Shelton was robbed from being able to finish the match last night? Yeah, they shouldn't have even started the third set. The fact they let it go until the end, that's crazy. I've lost all my emotions after all my favorites have lost. Fair enough. That sucks, but that's sport. All right, chat. I'm going to send you over the next one. Fritz versus Fokina, which Fritz is, I mean, there's a semi-final there for him if he can navigate the next few matches against Alcaraz. So jump on over here, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back in about 5 minutes to watch Fritz taking on Fokina. But Osaka, unfortunately, her Wimbledon comes to an end. Pavlyuchenkova coming back from a set down to win in 3-6, 6-4, 6-4. And she's into the fourth round. Pavlyuchenkova, possibility of making it further than that. Maybe even a semi is on the cards for her. But Fritz, let's see how he looks after 2 5-setters.